Madam Chair,
We are
can I
not able
answer
to
that?
ask questions as to why we are amending the rules. We are not able to ask questions as to who they wish,
Madam Chair, may I answer?
who will benefit from the amendment to the rules.
For the
Is this
kind
rule, Mr.
information
President?
of
Is this
the-
rule, Mr. President, for
I was
Senator
about to
Bato, who is not
recognize
here?
Senator
We would
Pangilinan.
like to raise these valid questions, Mr. President, before we go into a vote.
In the rules, does it say that an amendment has to pass the Committee on Rules?
Section 24, Madam President.
Anong sabi po sa Section 24?
The committee shall hold meetings to discuss, decide,
Yes.
and submit a report on all matters transmitted to them.
Madam
And this-
Chairman, that's
thank
not
you.
the rule. The rule
Yes.
is 136.
136. Can you
So-
please, for the third time, may we request the Senate President to read into the
The
record
rules
Rule
may be amended
136.
by means of a motion which would be presented at least one day before its consideration, and the vote of the majority of the senators present in the session hall shall be required for its approval. So I respect their objection. But how do we determine objections in this Senate? We vote. So if there is an objection, they have already explained their position. We have explained our position. I move that we divide the House, Madam Chair.
May I, Mr. President? We are several members of the minority here, and only Senator Lacson has spoken. Why are we railroading this process, Mr. President?
Madam
I have a
Chair.
number of issues that I'd like to raise regarding this motion, Mr. President. They are citing Section 136, assuming, for the sake of argument, that their position is correct. The second paragraph, Mr. President, says the rules may also be amended by means of a motion, which should be presented at least one day before its consideration. We submit, Mr. President, that the earlier motion that was entered or was referred to the Committee on Rules. This is a new motion, Mr. President.
correct.
And therefore, we have to take consideration of the one-day requirement before we can act on it, Mr. President. And that should be, if not tomorrow, because we don't have any session tomorrow, that should be on Monday, Mr. President.
Madam
take
President.
Again, let me reiterate. The rules may also be amended by means of a motion, which should be presented at least one day before its consideration. We submit that the motion that was mentioned last May 11 was referred
Yes.
to the Committee on Rules.
Yeah.
This is a new motion, Mr. President, that is being presented on the floor, which requires that it be presented one day before it is considered. And therefore, we have to consider this motion on Monday, Mr. President.
Madam
As
President.
explained by the acting majority leader, the motion of Senator Marcoleta has been brought to the plenary, and
Referred.
both the majority and the minority had mentioned Rule Section 136, and it says that the vote of the majority of the senators present in session shall be required for the
Madam
approval.
President.
I believe that this rule has been mentioned more than 5 times.
Madam President.
I
may-
believe also that the interpretation of the rule is different. So I take note of the manifestation of Senator Pangilinan.
may,
Mr. President,
may-
if I may just continue, Mr. President. All in previous,
Senator
In-
Lacson
in-
actually has the floor.
yes,
I
with the
still have
permission
the
of
floor,
Senator
yeah.
Lacson.
Senator Lacson has the floor.
But
May
would-
we continue with the manifestation of Senator Lacson, and then
Yeah.
after him, he will yield to Senator Pangilinan.
Madam President, the invocation of the Senate President of Rule 136 is premised on the assumption that there was no action taken. But we took action. We referred it to the Committee on Rules. So Section 24 now applies, Madam President. You're going to just ram down our throat something that numbers can dictate,
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
President.
Yes, Senate
Yes,
President
Madam Chair.
Cayetano.
First of all, we're just repeating the arguments. I respect his argument, but I disagree with it. Secondly, they've used already 3 words: ram down their throat, railroaded, binabraso. In this democratic institution, when we disagree, we vote. When we have rules, we follow the rules. The particular rule in amending the rules is 136. We're following that. So why are we using unparliamentary language to express or try to provoke the kind of argument we don't want between the majority and minority? You have your opinion, we respect that, we have our opinion. So how do we resolve that? By voting. Now, if you think we violated the rule, then go to court. But we do not think that we violated the rule. It is very clear. So my point of order, Madam Chair, they're out of order by insisting that there's another rule except for 136. So I move that we vote on it, Madam Chair. We divide the House.
Objection. Objection.
If there's an objection, then we vote. So may we proceed with the
President.
vote, Madam President?
Mr. President, I was earlier, it was the manifestation of the presiding officer, the Madam Chairperson, that after Senator Lacson, I be allowed to speak, Mr. President. Are we now curtailing my right to speak, Mr. President?
Madam Chair,
We are
can I
not able
answer
to
that?
ask questions as to why we are amending the rules. We are not able to ask questions as to who they wish,
Madam Chair, may I answer?
who will benefit from the amendment to the rules.
For the
Is this
kind
rule, Mr.
information
President?
of
Is this
the-
rule, Mr. President, for
I was
Senator
about to
Bato, who is not
recognize
here?
Senator
We would
Pangilinan.
like to raise these valid questions, Mr. President, before we go into a vote, Mr.
Madam Chair.
President.
Yes,
These,
just-
Madam
we
President.
should not be...
How can the
ar-
presiding officer recognize Senator Pangilinan? Please know that I would never curtail your right to speak. Just as in 2004, I believe you were seated, and I was a vice presidential candidate of FPJ then, and my microphone was closed, and my right to speak was closed, was not given. I remember that time now, and the word noted was said to me. That will not happen now. I will not do that to you. And I'm not curtailing your right to speak, Senator Pangilinan, except that you were speaking at the same time. And I was about to recognize you because Senator Lacson had the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, for
So
that
I just wanted to
clarification.
be clear on record because I
If-
recognize you're being emotional, but it will go on Senate record that the presiding officer was curtailing your right to speak. I would never do that, and I would not do what I experienced in 2004 in the House of Representatives in the canvassing of the votes then.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Madam President, with due respect, Mr. President, I was
I'm
not
yielding-
referring to the
Madam
presiding
President,
officer.
I'm yielding the floor to Senator Pangilinan.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Senator Lacson. We recognize Senator Francis Pangilinan.
Yes, Mr. President, and allow me to clarify, Madam President. I was not referring to the presiding officer in terms of the curtailing of my right to speak and to raise questions, Mr. President, because it was the Senate President who was moving to divide the House, Mr. President, without sufficient debates. Mr. President, this is the first time I'm going to experience this in a long time wherein debates are now being curtailed because there's a
Since you're
motion
not
to
being
divide the House.
curtailed, we would like to hear your objection to the motion. Thank you.
Mr. President, there are a lot of questions that have to be raised as to why this amendment to the rules is being undertaken at this time. Precedent provides, Mr. President, that when we amend our rules, we do so by way of resolution. We do not have that resolution now. In fact, Mr. President, a total 48 amendments of our rules all went through resolutions. This is the first time after 48 amendments, Mr. President, that we do not have a resolution so that we can
Point of
vote
order, Madam Chair.
and amend the rules properly, Mr. President.
Point of order.